Sacred Space, the podcast, has been recorded on Gubby Gubby country. Myself and guests acknowledge and pay respect to the elders past, present and emerging. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Welcome to Sacred Space, the podcast. I am Tanika, your host, and this is a space for you to tune in and become educated, evolved, and expanded on all things generational healing, personal development, and spirituality. This is a space where I'll get beautiful, like-minded guests on to speak into their stories and their wisdom, as well as hearing mine. So take a big, deep breath into your belly, get anchored, get grounded, and let's get into this week's episode. Hello everyone, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back if you are a weekly listener, and if this is your first time, then I absolutely am so thrilled to have you here. So this episode is, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to just be sitting here and recording, to be honest. I feel like I haven't recorded an episode in ages, and I also feel like I say that very often. But the past couple of weeks I had a couple of guests on, and then I think I recorded one podcast in the mix there, and then I had last week's episode was one of me being interviewed on a different podcast. And now I'm here and I'm so fucking excited to be here, and I just can't wait to get into this conversation today. I'm going to be talking about common myths that we have around our menstrual cycle that, we're conditioned to believe and that aren't even true, which I think is a cool conversation. And I think that you guys will get a lot out of this, especially if you're, just beginning to familiarize yourself with your cycle and all the things. So before I get into the episode, I want to remind you that linked below in the show notes, I have a link to my free cycle chart. And if you click that, you'll go over and you can get instant access to my cycle chart. And it's just a little PDF that I've created so that you can begin to familiarize yourself with the phases of your cycle. It's got a little bit of, it's just like a cute little thing to hang up on your wall to look at every day to remind yourself things that you should be eating, maybe how you should be feeling, and the movement that you should do. It's not super in depth, but it's actually so perfect. And I first actually created it before I was completely doing this work, and I created it for myself, and so that I could have it in my hallway and look at it every single day, and also to familiarize my partner with it. And it's still just there, but I have done an updated version. So if you are wanting the cycle chart, just click that link down below and it'll direct you there and you'll get it straight in your emails. That's pretty much all I wanted to get into. Usually I do an oracle card, but today I was feeling like doing a quote of the week, and I'm just going to get it up because I forgot to do that. So give me one moment. So this is random, I'm just going to quickly add it, but the reason I had to go searching for this quote is because I wanted to read a specific quote that I found the other day. I just hung up a whiteboard in my laundry with my calendar on it because I'm an organized queen, and I thought I want to write a motivational quote every month on the calendar. So that's my monthly mantra, and this is the quote that I found. It all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you if you allow it. I don't know, something about that quote just freaking hit home. I was like, holy goddamn, that is exactly what I was searching for. And so that's the quote that I have on my calendar now. And so I wanted to share it with you guys because it's so true, right? It literally all begins in our mind. And we know this when we're overthinking things. We know this when, we're getting into a space of overwhelm. If we stay in our mind and we give power to that overwhelm, we give power to that anxiety, it literally just keeps on recreating and turning into a big freaking pandemic within our mind. Whereas if we simply don't allow it to take control of us and we simply just let it go, I love letting it go just through the breath, or grounding out on the earth and imagining I'm pushing the shit that's trying to hold me back into the earth, then it's not going to manifest into anything more because you're not giving power to it. Oh, so good. That quote is so good. I hope it hits home for all of you as well. But anyway, today's episode is all about menstrual cycle myths, as I said, which I do really think this is a cool topic. And yeah, like I said, I think you'll get, a little bit out of this. So something that, oh my gosh, words. The first one that I want to start with is that periods are supposed to be painful. Not fucking true. We are so conditioned to believe that, you know, periods are supposed to be painful, that we're supposed to get cramps, that we're supposed to be in so much pain every month, and that it's just a part of being a woman. And a lot of women go through their whole life just like living off of Panadol, heat packs, and, you know, just like thinking that it's their own body that's just fucked. And this is such a myth, because when you begin to optimize your health, so, you know, looking at other factors, not just focusing in on the menstrual cycle, but actually looking at your environment, looking at, you know, who you're socializing with, the vibrations that are around you, the people that are around you, the foods that you're putting in your body, the way you exercise, you know, all these things. When we begin to really take a holistic approach to our overall health, you can begin to notice that your cycle, you know, especially your bleed time, does not have to be painful. Like, it's not true at all. It's just that, as I'm always freaking going on about, the society that we live in is very masculine. The 9 to 5 suits the man's hormones. It suits the man so well. Whereas for us women, it doesn't suit us as much, right? So that's why our body screams at us and tells us that there's something wrong, because there's lack of knowledge for us to live in alignment with our cycle. And that's equally why I'm so passionate about bringing this awareness to you, that even though, you know, a lot of women, and, you know, you may be one of them, that's struggling with quite painful periods, and you've just gone through this for years and you just feel like it's a part of your monthly regime, that, you know, once you begin to understand your cycle, begin to understand how you can honor it in your specific lifestyle, because of course we all have different lifestyles, we all have different things going on. It's not going to be the same for everyone, but when you can understand how to actually focus in on how you live and then like refine that to optimize and balance your cycle so that you're in a space of hormonal harmony, then your cycle it's not supposed to be painful. It's simply just that we push our bodies at times when it might just need a little bit of extra tender love and care. Another myth, oh my god, myth, okay. Another myth that is common with the menstrual cycle is that you can fall pregnant at any time of your cycle. Oh my god, biggest myth ever. And I also believe that, like, we just aren't educated. Again, there's just such a freaking lack of education around our menstrual cycle. It pisses me off. But anyway, you cannot fall pregnant throughout your entire cycle. Oh my goodness, biggest misconception ever. And it debilitates so many women from feeling pleasure. I know myself, it debilitated me so much from experiencing pleasure and being able to surrender, you know, sexually with my partner, even because I was like so freaking afraid. I was like, I don't want to fall pregnant. And I've spoken about this on previous episodes, of course, about my journey with like that fear and everything, which is so common, but it truly does stop women from being able to feel pleasure. You know, and not even just in the bedroom, but in all areas of life, because there's that like underlying unconscious like thing going on in there. What if I'm pregnant right now? You know, all the things like that. But also, if we tip the scale to the opposite end, when women are wanting to fall pregnant and, you know, you're wanting to conceive a child, but you actually just don't have the awareness there that there's an optimal time of your cycle to do this, it can feel really like, what's the word I'm trying to find? It can feel really disempowering when you don't understand that you're not fertile your whole cycle, and that can cause a lot of overthinking and a lot of overwhelm and a lot of anxiety if you're trying to conceive and it's not quite working, right? So there's both ends of the scale here, and I just want to bring awareness to you girls that, like, you're not fertile your whole cycle. We are only fertile in our ovulation window. So our ovulation time is around days, 14, 15, 16, depending on your cycle and your cycle length. We're only actually fertile in this like 24 hours to 48 hour little frame where our body releases an egg from our ovary through our oh my gosh. It's actually quite late right now while I'm recording, just so you know. So that's why I'm not Englishing very well. But it's while our body is releasing an egg from our ovary, moving through our fallopian tubes and into our uterus, right? So that's the only time that we're fertile. I do want to add, all the time I add this, a couple of days prior and a couple of days after, just to have safe sex if you're not wanting to conceive. If you are wanting to conceive, go ham. This is your time. But it's the only time that you're going to be, that you're fertile. So that's really all I have to say on that myth, is that no, we are not fertile our entire freaking cycle, and you cannot fall pregnant anytime. So if that is something that you have thought, you thought that you could just fall pregnant every single day, please no, you don't. If you don't understand when you are in your ovulation window, I have also got a free cycle tracker on my website. So go download the cycle chart that I was telling you about at the start of the episode. Go download the cycle tracker at the same time. You'll be completely set to begin to track your cycle. I also, with the cycle tracker, have a free mini training that's like attached to it, which is super cool, going into how to track your discharge, all the things like that. So pretty good value, if you ask me. Something I wish I had at the start of my journey, but now I can give that to you, which is super fucking cool. Okay, the last myth that I want to unpack is that, I guess this one's actually really similar to the first one, but like YOLO, whatever. Women have it tough. Common menstrual, like myth related to our menstrual cycle, that we have it tough, that it's really fucking hard. And I guess it's actually really leaks into both of those two that I said at the start, because your period being painful, that can be perceived that women have it tough, but also we can fall pregnant anytime. That can also be perceived as we have it tough. But I think this is such a huge fucking myth, and it's such a misconception, because it comes back once again to the lack of education in our body. And when you begin to understand how to cycle sync, so living in alignment with your cycle, when you begin to understand when you're in your fertile window, when you're not in your fertile window, what phase you're in, you begin to recognize that we actually don't necessarily have it tough at all. It's just that we have to do a little bit more, groundwork in understanding what's going on in our body than men do, which I know, look, it can be viewed as like, that's not fair, but I like to look at it from a space of like, how fucking cool that we can actually educate ourselves, understand exactly what's going on in our body, and then show up as like the most empowered fucking women ever. Like, how cool is that? I think it's really cool. So there are a couple of myths that we have, been conditioned to believe around our menstrual cycle. No, your period does not have to be painful. And if you are someone who struggles with a painful menstrual cycle, jump in my online course. It's self-paced, called Moon Maiden. I ran it in November, and like, I know it's still November, so actually if you join now, like as this is live, you'll still be able to make it for the final live call, which is actually an astrology call with Emma from Em's Authority. She's doing a astrology masterclass on the moons of 2024. But if you are someone that has a painful period, if you are someone who struggles with irregular cycles, if you are someone who is sick of feeling fucking fatigued throughout, half the month because your hormones just drop and you feel like shit, jump in Moon Maiden. It is such a good course, like the best fucking course ever. The first week, so there's 4 modules. The first week's all about your cycle. The second week is all about how to track your cycle with the moon and how to like really step into that. So I'm really covering like the physical side of it. I'm really covering the mindset side of it. I'm really covering the energetic side of it. Module 3, which dropped this week, is all about seed cycling. So cycling with seeds, which helps to naturally optimize and balance your hormones. I have a training about optimizing your environment, your lifestyle, cutting out toxic things from your environment one by one so that you can really live a healthy girl life. And then module 4 is the masterclass with Emma. So it's actually incredible, this course. Like, it actually just will set you up for 2024, or like whenever you're listening to this, like it'll just fucking set you up for life, truly. The cycle trackers linked in with that. There's so much value in there, and it's only $111, which I think is really cool because it's super accessible for you as well. And like I said, it is practically self-paced. There's not really like the group element to it. So you can kind of just go through it at your own pace, come back to it whenever you want. And it's hosted on like Notion, which is a platform where you can actually just download an app, have the app downloaded on your phone, click your app on your phone whenever, something might be presenting throughout your cycle, go, okay, cool, like Tanika's told me like these journal prompts for this, blah, 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 and then you've just got it all on your phone. Like, it is so fucking great. I love it so much. So if any of these myths don't feel like myths to you, get the fucking Moon Maiden. It will really serve you and like help you to just feel really good. But yeah, other than that, that's a wrap up for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it so much, and I hope you got heaps out of it. I will be back in your ears next Thursday at 5:55 a.m. I hope you're all enjoying, if you are here in Queensland, the hot weather that we've been getting. I think it's been pretty freaking good. But other than that, I'll be back in your ears next week. I love you so much, and thank you again for supporting me. And this is so cool. Hi, beautiful. Thank you so much for being a part of my podcast community. I have so much gratitude for you, and I would love to hear what you think about this podcast. Leave me a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or share this episode with a close friend that needs to hear it. If you leave me a review and send me the screenshot on Instagram at sacredspace_Tanika, I will forward you access to a free guided womb healing breathwork journey and a 15% off code to purchase any masterclasses or courses available on my website. All you have to do is leave me a review, send me the screenshot on Instagram at sacredspace_Tanika, and I'll forward you access to the free guided womb journey and a 15% off code. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week.